As a major stakeholder in disaster mitigation, response, and recovery, our society is mandated to provide support to our country in times of need via human, material, or financial resources to help to alleviate suffering and maintain human dignity. At the onset of the COVID-19, the executive of the Red Cross set about to develop a COVID-19 plan. The plan has 3 phases of the impact. Phase 1 in the preparedness phase, phase 2 in which we are involved right now, which is the containment phase, and phase 3, mitigation. In terms of the Red Cross, we are in the process of compiling information to be shared at the regional and international levels. We also part of a regional WhatsApp group where we share information with other countries around the region and get best practices in real time. We also host meetings 2 times a week with regional Red Cross and international Red Cross, and these are just a few of the activities. As part of our response, the Red Cross, as part of the plan, sought to get finances and other resources to assist in the national response. I take this opportunity to commend the task force that has been involved in response to COVID-19, and we look forward to the continued collaboration with the Red Cross. As part of our responsibilities to support the national effort, the St. Kitts and Nevis Red Cross is providing PPEs for our workers in the front line. And we hope that these protective gowns will go a long way in making sure that our most valued human resource on the front line continue to be protected. We look forward, as we speak, we are in communication with the international and regional Red Cross to secure more resources to assist in the long-term response to the COVID-19. I take this opportunity to hand over the PPEs to Dr. Wilkinson, our Medical Chief of Staff.
On behalf of the Ministry of Health and everyone who accesses health care at the Josephine France Hospital and all of our institutions across the island, I say a big thank you. We have forever spoken about an all-society engagement in our fight against COVID-19, and we are happy that the Red Cross, who is always at the forefront of fights in terms of disaster, etc., have stepped forward. And this is just one of 5 boxes I see in the back with our PPEs here. And I'm certain that these will go to good use to protect our healthcare workers and to protect the general public. And the life that we save through this generous donation might be mine, it might be yours. And so we deeply appreciate this tangible contribution that you've made. And to everyone else who's contributed, whether it's in monetary donation, just by saying a simple prayer, a simple thank you, just saying that we have your back, we appreciate that very much. Thank you very much.
I want to thank the CMO, the team, Dr. Wilkinson, and the head of the team, Mrs. Lars, and Mr. Samuel. I believe that they're doing a wonderful job, and I just want the people to recognize that what they're doing and to do likewise like me. Whatever little you could bring, because I also in a little difficulty too. But I see that people out there struggling, especially those who are in the infirmary. The government got to help different people, workers, through social security and what. And by right, that this is our country. And with this COVID-19 come upon us, I think that we think nothing best. Who could afford something? Let me contribute something. I believe that is important. And I just want to thank my sweetheart Karen She's the one who encouraged me to be here because I tell her that I'm going to panic. So she encouraged me, tell me must come. Mr. Politics, go and do what you got to do. So I just want to thank her. And I just want to contribute this $500 to the infirmary on behalf of my little business.
On behalf of the Ministry of Health and the infirmary, we want to thank Mr. Wendell Dorset for his kind donation here this afternoon. Again, his humanitarian spirit is in keeping with our plea. We want an all-of-society response in terms of this fight against COVID-19. Thank you again, Mr. Dorset. Thank you.
On behalf of the Cable, to the NEOC, for its invaluable role, the NEOC and the extended NEOC, all of the people that come here day in and day out, for your invaluable role in providing these daily updates to the nation during these critical times. And thank you also for allowing me to provide a COVID-19 update on behalf of the Cable. Keeping everybody connected as we work, learn, worship and entertain ourselves at home is a key part of our role during this pandemic. To achieve this, the Cable is focusing on four key areas. Number one, our business operations. And by that I mean taking care of the health and safety of our employees and our customers in our normal business operations. The company continues to comply with the NEOC and the CMO guidelines and advisories. We have already started and have implemented social distancing protocols for all of our employees working in the office and all of our technicians outside of the office on the road. Our vulnerable staff are at home and are working remotely where possible. All staff are equipped with masks and sanitizers. Technicians are provided with footwear for when they enter into customers' premises. All public spaces and office facilities have hourly rostered sanitization stations and plexiglass protectors. And for the past few months, we've been conducting proactive maintenance of our network, community by community, on the outside without having to go inside, to make sure that customers continue to keep connected. When it comes to operations, I have to thank the entire team, the Cable team, our call centre agents who have now acquired a new skill of walking customers online patiently through how to pay your bill online, troubleshoot online, tuning your TV online, to our cashiers, our customer service reps, and especially our technicians, those working out in the field and those working tirelessly behind the scenes. I say thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the public to really help us in making sure everybody stays safe when our technicians have to enter your premises. And please abide by the social distancing and keep at least 6 feet away and wear masks when technicians come in. Our technicians will have masks as well. We want to ensure everybody's protected. The second area of focus is our customers. Doing our part to alleviate the economic impact and keeping our customers connected, making sure businesses can continue, that students can study online, and that everybody can remain connected to the ones that they love. So what did we do? Way back in March, we increased the speed of our entry-level broadband package from 6 megs to 10 megs. In fact, that upgrade was we announced it in March, but we completed it last weekend on Saturday. We reduced the prices of our Flash and Bolt packages. Our Flash package went down. They both went down by 20%, Flash to $77 and Bolt to $109. Flash at 10 megs and Bolt at 30 megs should give everybody a reasonable opportunity to work from home, to study from home, to worship from home without having to go too much higher. So we wanted to alleviate that economic impact and reduce the price. So we've done that. Your April bills have already been reduced and your May bills will be reduced as well. We reopened the Wi-Fi hotspots in Bastia, and so those customers that have to crowd in Bastia on the soft curfew days can access free Wi-Fi while they're waiting in queue. We waived the late fees, waived installation fees, and we actually secured up to 40% additional bandwidth off island to make sure that as people stayed at home, they remained connected. So that was our corporate response. The third area was customers also, and we had to make it easier for customers to do business with us. So we realized customers were at home. We realized for the first few weeks that we were not open. Customers could not pay in cash. And most of our customers like to pay in cash. And so what did we do? We really aggressively advertised our online network at the cable.net pay. We advertised that customers could pay at any commercial banks. We pushed our partnership with JAD and our partnership with CaribPay, both cashless payment types. And we approached the credit union in St. Kitts, and together with Digicel and Flow, we approached Rams and Best Buy supermarkets, and all three provided check drop boxes for us. So on the days that we could not open, and the supermarkets could, and the banks could, we have to give a huge thank you to the St. Kitts Credit Union, to Rams and to Best Buy for, without hesitation, saying, yes, you can come and put a check drop box in our facilities so your customers can continue to pay their bills. We revised our opening hours from 8 till 2, and we prioritised senior citizens in those opening hours. So we frequently walk outside, walk through the crowd and the queue, and pull the senior citizens forward so they don't have to wait in the queue. The third thing that we did is made it easier to contact us. So you can contact us 7 days a week. It's not just Monday to Friday, 8 till 2 or 8 till 4. The number for the normal working hours is 465-2588, and we have two cell numbers for evenings and weekends, 763-0184 and 662-7742. So you can contact us 7 days a week. Outside of office hours, during office hours. You can always also email us at customerservice@thecable.biz or businesses at businessservice@thecable.biz. And you can contact us through social media, Facebook and Instagram at The Cable St. Kitts. The fourth thing that we did was figure, how can we use our corporate reach to share information to the entire nation? How can we provide information to the public? And so what we've done is we've utilized the free advertising slots in CNN and the visitor channel to broadcast the NEOC and the Ministry of Health's public service announcements. So anybody who watches CNN or watches the video channel, the visitor channel will see the animated ads and the other information ads of public service advisories that anybody can see on behalf of the Ministry of Education. We've also used the video crawl. The top of CNN, there's a video crawl, and every 2 minutes, there's a message that crawls on there. We started off crawling the contact numbers for the COVID-19 hotline, the NEOC, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, but now on there is the contact details for anybody wanting to apply for the COVID-19 relief fund. And so the website to access it, the telephone numbers to call for anybody who needs those funds and has been unemployed and wants those details can go to Channel 16, CNN, and look at the scroll at the top. It will give you all of the information. So in this environment of teamwork, I want to continue our collaboration. We've collaborated with the Ministry of Health. We've collaborated with the Ministry of Education, with our other two telecommunications companies. We've collaborated with NEOC. We would like to offer to any business out there at all, if you need help getting operational information to your customers, for example, the change in working hours, websites, online payment options, we can help you. The Cable is pleased to provide free advertising slots on CNN for April and May. Just contact us at the business services at thecable.biz. Keeping everyone connected remains our priority. We're here for you 7 days a week. Please don't wait until normal hours. If you need assistance, just contact us. Contact details are available on our website, available on our social media pages, and just now we're on the screens here. This really isn't a time for us all to rally together as one, and we continue to collaborate with all of society to try and do our part, and wherever we can, we pledge that we will continue to keep you connected. and to keep you informed. And finally, a sincere thanks to everyone who continues to keep us safe, healthy, fed and protected. Thank you.
The Department of Marine Resources would like to thank the NEOC for the opportunity to address the nation today on the fisheries sector. St. Kitts and Nevis has always been concerned with food and nutrition security, and the COVID-19 pandemic has only increased the alert levels within the fisheries sector. Having enough fish protein to feed our nation is of great concern. The Federation average total consumption is 1,300 tons annually, with 850 tons imported and 450 tons produced locally. This shows that 2/3 of our fish we consume is imported. With the onset of the pandemic, countries are reluctant to export fish due to their own food and nutrition security concerns, and all our livelihoods have been threatened as a result of the precautions that we must take. In spite of the current situation, the Department of Marine Resources views the pandemic as an opportunity to reshape the sector by building support structures that reduces our dependence on foreign fish while concurrently boosting local production. When fish is imported, we run the risk of purchasing mislabeled fish. For example, the Federation consumes large amounts of cod, locally known as saltfish, and grouper. However, we have seen instances where haddock is swapped for cod, and swai, a freshwater fish with a minimal nutrition value, is swapped for grouper. The motivation for misleading consumers is purely financial, as cheaper fish can be passed off for more expensive ones. Deliberate mislabeling across all seafood sectors is estimated to involve billions of pounds in sales annually. Many foreign fish producers have genetically modified their fish to maximize yields and use antibiotics to keep the fish healthy until the time of sale. Furthermore, it is near impossible to determine the effects on our health. Nonetheless, we can be sure about the fish caught by our fishers. Our fisheries are still almost as pristine as they were since the beginning of time. Our fishers do not congregate at sea. They do not use antibiotics. They do not release nutrients in the sea, causing dead zones or algae blooms, like what we have seen with the sargassum seaweed. Fishers are here to earn a living in order to maintain their families and provide us with the best source of protein. As a result, some initiatives have been proposed to support the livelihoods during this pandemic and establish a more robust fisheries sector while minimizing food and nutrition security concerns. These initiatives are the selling of gear at 50% of cost. This includes fish trap wire, fishing hooks, fishing lines, rope, etc. The ability to purchase fuel at duty-free prices, and the construction of fish aggregating devices to target large pelagics like tunas, marlins, kingfish, and mahi-mahi. Other proposals to sustain and develop the industry are still being considered, such as economic support for the fisheries sector and fishing permits for night fishing and fishing on full curfew days. We therefore encourage fishers to continue submitting proposals to the departments in St. Kitts and in Nevis for consideration in the industry stimulus package. To the general public, we urge you to maintain strong support for the fishers for your fish protein needs. And please, we all, fishers included, abide by the COVID-19 regulations with respect to physical and social distancing, hygiene standards, and having the appropriate safety gear. Thank you.
Among the many areas of responsibility mandated to the Ministry of International Trade, Industry, Commerce and Consumer Affairs is that of monitoring and evaluating economic developments, policies and procedures on trade matters, and in turn to report these developments and the implications to the relevant ministries, agencies, and the private sector. Today, I will speak to the current trading environment in the context of the COVID-19, offering brief insights as to what international trade and business could look like post-COVID-19. When we speak of international trade, we actually refer to the exchange of goods, capital, and services across international borders or territories with the intent of providing for a need or a want. In most countries, such trade represents a significant amount for our gross domestic product. So while some of us may not necessarily be manufacturers, producers, or even service providers, we are consumers of goods and services and should be keen or interested in what is happening now in the trading environment and what could possibly happen post-COVID-19. Now, let us look at some of the stark realities. Trade is among the casualties in the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, why do I say this? To halt the spread of this disease, governments and businesses alike, the world over, would have made decisions to close businesses temporarily and impose restrictions to travel and movement of people. These measures have led to sharp contractions in the level of output, household spending, investment, and international trade. Lessons from last decade's global recession suggest that international trade will hit us very hard because of these containment measures. I recently came across a document by UNCTAD in which the General Secretary stated, and I quote, "Any slowdown in manufacturing in one part of the world will have a ripple effect in economic activity across the globe because of regional and global value chains." Let us put this statement in context. China has become crucial to the global economy over the past 2 decades. Its rising importance is not only related to its status as a manufacturer or an exporter of consumer products, but China is the main supplier of intermediate inputs for manufacturing companies. Now, this outbreak has resulted in a manufacturing slowdown in China, which could lead to massive decrease in exports across global value chains. Already, we have heard of production delays in Apple's manufacturing partner in China, Foxconn. We have also heard of car makers, including Nissan and Hyundai, temporarily closing factories outside China because they couldn't get parts. And even the pharmaceutical industry in India reported fears of drug shortages. Worthy of note, and what is of tremendous importance to us in the region, is the prediction that the disruption of global supply chains due to the pandemic is expected to have significant repercussions for food security in the region. We know Caribbean states import large quantities of supplies. In some instances, more than 80% of food consumed come from affected countries. Around 90% of global trade is transported by commercial shipping. COVID-19 related containment measures are likely to make production as well as the distribution more challenging, especially as some of our freight carriers close or prioritize the activities towards transporting medical supplies. While all of this is happening, consumers continue to behave erratically, resorting to panic shopping or revising the entire values of material versus immaterial needs. Now, these are the stark realities of what is happening in trade. How do we respond? Even as the crisis rages, governments and businesses alike must start planning for the aftermath. On the economic front, this means laying the foundations for a strong and social inclusive recovery. Trade and international coordination, more generally, are the most important ingredients here. Let me say, while trade may not necessarily be the silver bullet, it is a valuable complement to fiscal and monetary measures. Now, having said all of this, we should not allow the doom and gloom to overshadow the good in all of this. because on the flip side, we see tremendous opportunities. While we may not readily see this, there are several countries and companies that are not silently watching. They have adapted like chameleons to the situation and stretched their brands, reshuffling their product lines and catered to new needs. In short, they have listened to the market and taken a risk or two, making COVID-19 not an inhibitor, but a main propeller for new growth in some sectors and reviving dominant potential in others. Let us look at our situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have seen how some of our own manufacturers, for example, would have responded to the demand for masks and have pursued mass production of such items to cater to us as consumers. We believe that the wearing of masks can very well be the norm for us going forward and can therefore be a visible business venture. Likewise, we would have seen some of our distillers who would have ventured into expanding the scope of their product lines and have, for the first time, manufactured hand sanitizers and alcohol. These are commendable efforts and can now be extended to not only the local or regional level, but for the international level as well. This is the time for our small businesses to begin to look at opportunities for expanding their products and services and exploring market opportunities. It is time for business to evaluate where they must be and where they could be flexible. For example, we think that in the entertainment and gaming industry, we should encourage new ways of disseminating content and promotion of businesses. Likewise, in the healthcare and health technology, we wish to see more robust advances and bigger ventures, for example, in the area of telemedicine and online consultations. From where we sit, we are convinced that COVID-19 will force a rebirth of many industries as we all sit at home in lockdown, reassessing and reimagining modes of consumption, supply, interaction, and productivity. Now, here are a few key takeaways for a post-COVID world. 1, there is a view that the US-China trade conflict would be very prolonged, even past COVID-19. And so, with this in mind, we would want to encourage companies and businesses to look closer to home for their production, as well as to value the benefit of having alternative sources. We would go even further to advocate for more self-reliance and self-sufficiency, as much as this is possible. Takeaway 2. This crisis has impacted the world all over, including China. This points to the importance of having a clear and well-understood disaster recovery and business continuity strategy in place. While resilience must be at the forefront of every strategy, it is agility that will ensure competitiveness and the ability to respond to the unexpected. The truth is, a virus like COVID-19 can be as disruptive and destructive as any natural disaster. Our third takeaway, we strongly recommend that more businesses, and this is targeted specifically to the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, we are recommending that they push the technology envelope to nurture e-commerce for a post-COVID world. COVID-19 is changing the world into one that is increasingly reliant on technology, and we are satisfied that this is the way to go. Takeaway 4. Of equal importance is the observation that there must be collective action and cooperation among governments as it relates to trade policy, which could lead to a result in lowering of tariffs on pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and other services and other supplies. Such collaboration could also lend to the improvement in trade facilitation to reduce the cost of moving products and materials across borders at a quicker time. This takeaway 5, relates to us as consumers specifically. It is clear that this crisis will call a lot of outdated practices, yet many more of them will remain with us. We'll always want to travel as Caribbean people, eat out, be entertained, and to have experiences in person. But we must, however, begin to get in our minds that this may not, although this may be so, just don't expect these activities to be unchanged or to be delivered by the same modes to which we have grown accustomed. In conclusion, the coronavirus is a story with an unclear ending. What is, however, clear to us is that trade must continue as millions of lives depend on it. And without trade, humanitarian work cannot take place. While the jury is still out as to the recovery of in this period, we believe that those who plan at this time, even for the worst-case scenarios, those who simulate response strategies for all possible cases, are the ones who will come out ahead of this crisis. Any sense of complacency tends to punish us in the most unlikely circumstances, which is why being prepared has always been the best line of defense. Ultimately, we should emerge from this period stronger, wiser, and more connected as a global society. Let me encourage our businesses and consumers alike to visit us at the Ministry of International Trade, whether it be for a business venture, a new idea, whether it be to determine whether or not your product is ready for export, whether it be to query a matter that relates to consumer affairs, or any matter related to trade. We are open to listening to you, and we're here to serve you, not only now at this time, but post-COVID-19. I want to thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
I will begin with my usual report on law enforcement activity in terms of arrests. And again, I'm always happy to report that we have not made any arrests in the last 24 hours, which means that persons are complying. However, I'll address some issues that were raised by the Compliance Task Force, who has identified retail liquor premises and motor omnibus operators as two categories of businesses that are not in compliance with the regulations. I will therefore spend some time today on liquor licenses. Only retail liquor licenses are suspended under the current emergency regulations. Businesses with wholesale licenses, such as supermarkets and liquor stores, can continue to sell alcohol. The intention of the regulation is not to restrict the consumption or sale of alcohol generally, but rather to prevent the type of group socializing or large gatherings that obtains in a bar or rum shop environment. Remember, COVID is spread when respiratory droplets from an infected individual comes into contact with another person and gets into their eyes, mouth, or nose. A 6 feet physical distancing is recommended to prevent the spread by person-to-person contact. It is not very easy, if at all possible, to maintain this 6 feet distance in a bar with persons drinking alcohol. Alcohol suppresses the central nervous system and impairs one's ability to judge distances, among other things. Hence the restriction at retail licensed premises. Supermarkets and other alcohol wholesalers cannot allow alcohol consumption on their premises. That is why there is no restriction on these businesses. And I would say why. The liquor license describes wholesale licenses, or what it means to sell wholesale as to sell liquor in any quantity of not less than 1 pint to be consumed off or away from the premises. I repeat this. To sell wholesale means to sell liquor in any quantity of not less than 1 pint to be consumed off or away from the premises. To sell retail means to sell liquor in any quantity to be consumed on or away from the premises. And I would just like to give the definition for liquor under the Liquor License Act. Liquor includes brandy, whiskey, rum, gin, wines, liqueurs, beer, porter, cider, and all potable spirituous alcoholic malt, and fermented liquors of any kind or sort whatsoever, but shall not include bay water or bay rum. I trust that this would explain the reason why retail licenses are suspended and not wholesale licenses. The intention is to prevent persons from gathering or congregating in groups that would promote the spread of the disease, and not to necessarily restrict or prevent the consumption or sale of alcohol. We've been getting a lot of complaints from small businesses complaining that it's unfair that the larger businesses can sell alcohol and they cannot sell alcohol. We just want to explain that the reason is not necessarily the sale or consumption of alcohol, but the gathering of persons together while consuming alcohol, which puts them dangerously close and promotes the spread of the disease. In closing, I want to remind everyone that tomorrow is a 24-hour curfew day, which means that you are required to stay at your residence, and this curfew begins at 7 p.m. this evening and ends at 6 a.m. on Thursday morning. So all persons are required to shelter in place, stay at your residence, and you only come out if you are an essential worker required for duty, or if you are accessing emergency medical services, or if you have specific permission from the Commissioner of Police. Thank you.
As of Tuesday, 28th April, the World Health Organization reports 2,959,929 confirmed cases of COVID-19, with 202,733 deaths. To date, 293 persons have been sampled and tested in the Federation, with 15 confirmed positive, 265 confirmed negative, with 13 results pending. To date, 4 persons have recovered with 0 deaths. Currently, 5 persons are quarantined in a government facility, while 56 persons are quarantined at home. 11 persons remain in isolation, while 686 persons have been released from quarantine. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that while we are under this state of emergency, we are all encouraged to work together to help to reduce the impact of this disease on our nation. Persons with a confirmed diagnosis of COVID-19 are to remain in strict isolation. Persons who have had a significant or direct contact with a confirmed case are automatically placed in quarantine and are required to remain in quarantine for a minimum of 14 days. Persons in quarantine are not allowed to interact with anyone during those 14 days. Remember, our actions count. If we are to succeed in reducing the impact of this pandemic, we must do our part. Maintaining the overall health of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis continues to be our individual and collective responsibility. National statistics and other COVID-19 related information can be found on our official website, www.covid19.gov.kn, at our Health Promotion Unit Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Instagram. Thank you.
311 calls for the past 24 hours. There were a total of 25 calls, 13 on St. Kitts, 12 on Nevis. 911 would have processed a total of 81 calls. NEOC, 2, 1 request for permission, 1 for information. EOC and Nevis would have processed for the past 24 hours 11 calls. The COVID-19 Compliance Task Force evaluated 50 9 businesses, 59 businesses, and they would have engaged 13 passenger buses. While the task force observed general compliance with the regulation, I would like to thank the businesses and general public for their cooperation. The quarantine task force continues to do its work. Persons who are still in quarantine and isolation, you are asked to comply with your obligations and shelter in place. To date, I have been informed by the quarantine task force and its leadership that persons are generally compliant. Congratulations and thank you. That means you are playing your part in helping us curb and control this outbreak.
The government specifically has exemption on both Pampers and baby food. That was initially done on the Food Basket Initiative, going way back. And let me just be clear, because there seem to be a lot of misunderstandings in exactly what does the government offer in terms of concessions. As of March 26, the government has waived all, that's all, duties, service charge, VAT, on vegetables, fruit juices, cough and cold medication, and vitamins. That's totally free. In regards to things like hand sanitizers, rubbing alcohol, wipes, gloves, and masks, the government also took the decision to waive everything with the exception of the service charge, which is only 6% on these goods. So this is what the government has done specifically to address the COVID-19 situation. And there will be more to follow as we have a good understanding of what's going on in the economy. Further to that, I might want to remind everyone that the VAT was removed on all food items on the I think it was in April of 2015 by the current administration. Thank you.